Welcome to the Proverbial Talk. We're on episode 3 called Barely Edited. Today's proverb is, "And say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, disapproval." I decided to film a bit in advance because I thought next week might be busy. So I thought I'll get episode 3 out the way since I've become a lot more comfortable filming as well. So what does it say? What does I hated instruction? How have I hated instruction, and how my heart despised reproof? So reproof is disapproval. If somebody doesn't agree with you and they're advising you. I've had this situation, for example, where I wanted to retaliate, not necessarily revenge, but report, complain about something, and the person that gave me reproof, which they disapproved of my thing, said that they will not help me do that, and they gave me the advice of focusing the energy into leveling up, basically, like, improving, focusing on the positive things in life, on not necessarily proving them wrong, but not wasting energy and not wasting time on things and people that, although, yeah, you might win the complaint, you might be right, they may be doing something that is terrible and you wish to have revenge on them. Try not to, or don't. I've been stopped like that quite a few times, actually, because I have a really, really big temper, but it's not obvious, so I'm very patient and very calm until you push me too far, and then you really, really have to run. Otherwise, you might get caught up. But I have had those thoughts, and my temper was visible to my friends, for example, and my friends were like, "Don't do it. Like, just have a chill." So, because they knew that I was going to do exactly what I said, and that was going to put me in a lot of trouble if I didn't get away with it. So that's why revenge is really, really bad. Obeying the voice of teachers, not giving your ear to wisdom. So again, it's the same thing. Is if you have people in your life that are wiser than you, even people that you employ, like your accountant, your lawyers, if you need them. Some people might not need them, some people might need them. If you have them, you need their advice. I'm a very creative person, so I need to bounce my ideas against people that aren't creative, but they're more logical and structured, because not that I lack structures, I just work a bit chaotically, and I need their feedback to be able to achieve like crystal clear results. And one of the other things related to this is also being stubborn. Being stubborn or proud is a tough thing to overcome. Indeed, pride was the fall of Lucifer, he who fell from heaven for not humbling himself and taking the knee before God. So essentially, not that you have to take the knee in front of other people. In front of God, yeah, you must kneel in front of God. The faster you admit that you are less, you're human, okay, so I do believe that God is inside, right? God is not just an external thing, but every living thing, every living being, every animal, every tree has essentially God consciousness inside of them. So in order to become the master of your own consciousness, you need to kneel before it. So acknowledge its existence, acknowledge its all-powerful nature, right? And then you're able to become a master of it. So it's not that you have to become a slave or become like, listen, endlessly, or worship something. Like how some people worship the Bible. Like, there's no other answers. There is other answers in other books, but it's important that the Bible, I'm not saying I approve of any other words of God. I only approve of the Bible. But there are other sources of knowledge that also kind of repeat the same thing or add on to what the Bible says. So just be careful when you're reading them. But not to worship the book or the actual, word, but embody it is a lot better than blind worship, essentially. And this is where I mentioned Lucifer, right? Where he couldn't humble himself to admit there's something greater than himself. So he just wanted to, it's not about being the all one leader and Lord yourself. It's about the collective. So everyone and everything, right? And nothing and nobody at the same time. If you know what I'm saying, if you catch my drift. Yeah, and he wanted to be better and superior. He couldn't stand being corrected and believe he was never wrong like God, which is essentially impossible. So the reason why he thought that he is always right is essentially the essence of pride of, no, I'm never wrong. There's that arrogance instead of humility of, no, I'm right. And the emotions bubbling in that is a lot of shame, fear of being wrong, doubt in other people, trust issues. These are all, even envy. Envy is one of them as well, right? Because if you are jealous of somebody and that person is right about your life, then you're not going to listen to them. You're gonna say bad things about them to prove that you are better than them because you're jealous of them. So that's one other thing. That's important to just humble yourself sometimes. You're not always going to be right. If actually, you are able to see others' good intentions for you, then you actually become a better leader. So you're able to say that everything that you've accomplished and everything that you are is not just thanks to you, it's also to the people that helped you along the way. Right? And that, I think, is part of being a good leader, is acknowledging that you're part of a team, you're again part of the collective. Give credit for your achievements to others as well. And hopefully they do the same thing about you. If they don't, they don't. But that's the difference between good leaders and leaders who are too arrogant to admit that they are wrong, too arrogant to admit that without the people, like for example, politicians, right? Even the current prime minister, right? He doesn't have the humility to say that he needs the public to do anything. He thinks that him and his clique, essentially his group of corrupted individuals, can rule over the whole land and do whatever they want, and that they'll get away with it because they're in this superior group, right? And this is essentially the arrogance of Satan, the arrogance of evil, is that he doesn't have enough character to admit that he is nothing without the people and the public, that it not only voted for him, but that maintain his position. And that's quite, like, without getting too controversial and naming, you obviously know who the prime minister is. So I'm not really going to get into it because I don't actually support politics at all. I tend to see myself as somebody who's independent of politics. I don't vote basically because, in my opinion, both the left and the right are in the same team. They don't see us, they see only themselves, and that is very problematic. Even leaders that I would be likely to vote for, right? They also have an arrogant side where they don't see young leaders or other leaders as purposeful or as useful to them. They only see themselves again. And one person cannot lead a nation. They might be the face of the nation temporarily or whatever, right? The representative of a nation, but they cannot lead by themselves. That's the whole point, is you not only need a group of people, there is a trickle-down system where everybody plays their part. And if they don't play their part, then everything breaks down, unfortunately. If there's corruption, if there's hidden things, if let's say you have a budget, right, and you don't disclose what's happening with the budget. Not that saying that everyone needs to know, because the public have their own opinions, and sometimes their opinions aren't the best because they don't understand, they're not educated enough, whatever, right? But they still, if they wish to access those information and they are educated enough to be able to have an opinion on that, then they should be able to have full transparency and see exactly what's going on within the budget. And that's where politicians, essentially, going back to our quote, they can't have reproof. They can't stand being people disapproving of them because they think they're too good for those opinions, which is very funny, actually. So, I mean, I just laugh. I just watch the man laugh because I understand exactly what's going on. But it's sort of like, you know, I tend to do my own politics within other structures, and I don't do the voting part because it's just a bit, it infringes on my privacy as well, and on my sovereignty as an individual. I can't do it. So I'm not gonna complain about what's going on, because then again, people that vote seem to think that people that don't vote contribute somehow to the way the country is, which is funny because that's exactly opposite, actually. But they may be doing something positive, they just don't wish to be named, and you know, for the details to be out in the open, you know. So it's just yeah, politics is a funny game. Everyone should sort of be educated enough to understand what voting is and if it's effective or not, but not everyone is. Right, we are finished. The last 2 minutes, I'm just gonna talk about promotion. Right, so I have one person promoting my own products, making promotional videos, and they get my products for free. So they gave me the address, I sent them the products, and they are I paid for shipping, I covered the shipping costs and everything. All they have to do is promote my products, wear them, show them, make a little video, make a few posts on multiple social media platforms, how many ever they have. She has Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, so all those free platforms she covered for me, essentially given a good customer review or good experience of my products, which I already have on Trustpilot, but it's an extra avenue. So if you want to have that experience, if you want my products basically sent to you for free, reach out to me. If you're willing to do that kind of promotion deal with me, I will send you my products. I would expect some sort of proof that you're a social media personality, that I do have a requirement of having at least 70,000 followers or 50,000 followers, so that you're able to effectively promote me, and I'm getting, you know, essentially the worth of my covering the shipping costs to wherever you are. And that is a regular thing. If you're open to do that, you're more than welcome to reach out for me in the comments. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.